Welcome to the Charleston Marketing Podcast, powered by the Charleston American Marketing Association, broadcasting from our home base at Charleston Radio Group. Thanks to CRG, we're able to talk to the movers and shakers of Charleston, from economy to art, from hospitality to tech, and everything in between. These leaders have made a home here in the Lowcountry. They live here, they work here, they make change here. Why? Let's talk about it. Here are your co-hosts, Stephanie Barrow and Jake Kozmor.
Welcome to the Charleston Marketing Podcast, powered by the Charleston American Marketing Association, where we have conversations about marketing with the who's who's of Charleston. We're recording in the Charleston Radio Group studios.
My name is Stephanie Barrow. I'm the founder of Stephanie Barrow Consulting, a digital marketing agency here in Charleston, and I'm your CAMA Immediate Past President. I am joined here with my co-host, Jake Kozmor. Jake, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Jake Kozmor. I'm the creative director of Cos Films. We are a full-service social media marketing agency based out of Charleston, South Carolina, and I'm a soon-to-be College of Charleston graduate.
Woohoo! Yeah, Jake! We're excited for Jake. We are happy to have Olivia Flowers from Southern Charm here with us today. Hey, Olivia. Olivia is from Dallas originally and graduated from Clemson University. She moved to LA to learn more about the entertainment industry and worked as a production assistant. I'm excited to dive into that. Her family grew up in Charleston, and now she calls the Lowcountry home. Outside of filming Southern Charm, Olivia is working on her wellness brand and collaborating with athleisure brands. She's also helping bring awareness to Lyme disease in honor of her brother. So I'm excited to talk all about that. Now, Jake, you guys are good friends, so I would like to learn a little bit more about how you guys got to know each other.
So I met Olivia ago 2 years at your birthday party, and I had no idea who you were.
Yeah, just showing up at random birthday parties.
So Olivia hired me to film her birthday party at Bourbon.
Combined birthday for me and Leva.
Was not informed that until like the very last minute. And I'm like, so we filmed the party, had a great night. I remember seeing you, but I don't think we ever spoke. I think I came up to your family and you're like,
yeah. Your
mom's like, she's the other birthday girl. Yeah. And I'm like,
my mom was letting everyone, it was all Leva's friends.
I love moms.
I was in the corner with my parents. And so, yeah, Jake came over and we met kind of briefly.
Yeah, we talked a little bit. And then probably like 6 months later, I met you at Hal's birthday, one of your good friends.
Yeah.
And that's when we got to really like chat and talk about like production, life. And I like you first. I was like, wow, this is like an LA, California, like spirited girl, completely like out of her like element in Charleston. And you told me, you're like, I'm getting the contract for Southern Charm. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, you know, and like 6 months later, you like texted me. It was like, I remember like first week of January. And you're like, can we do a photo shoot, hang out, and like learn about photography? And I was like, I'd love to.
Because I mean, initially, like what I wanted to do was like work behind the camera stuff, and talking to him just for seconds, you see how much he knows and how knowledgeable he is on it.
He is killing it.
It really is.
I keep telling people he's going to be writing everyone's checks around me one day.
So that's what we connected on, and just wanted to hang out with him. I was like, teach me everything you know, and then just got creative and did fun shoots, and he's got incredible equipment and knows how to use it.
Thank you.
Well, I'm excited to talk about all things marketing and all the things that we have going on with Olivia's life. She is really killing it on Southern Charm.
Thank you.
I've been a fan of Southern Charm just because I moved to Charleston. And when I moved here and I saw the cast and how everything was unfolding, the last couple of years have been very refreshing thanks to people like you.
Well, thank you.
We've been rooting for you, me and my hubby. So
I love that.
We watch it together, a glass of wine in hand, and we're like,
does he like it?
He does like it.
The guys get invested.
But he's like, my husband's a grown up. So when he watches some of these guys, he's just like, these people have got to get it together. Yeah. These girls are in a league of their own, and these guys have got to get together. But we're still rooting for everybody on Southern Charm. Now, you said you used to live in LA. Like, you and I have a lot in common. I lived in LA for 9 years and worked
9 years.
9 years.
So you loved it?
Oh my God, I loved it. I worked in PR and I did, marketing and that kind of thing. And I just love it. I still go back often. You said production assistant made me get excited because that used to be my world. So I want to hear a little bit about how you lived in LA, what you did there, and what brought you back to Charleston.
So I first went to LA, and it was just a summer in between my junior and senior year of college.
Okay.
And I didn't want to leave. My parents were like, just finish college. You got one more year and then you can go back. So did that, went back, and I always had a passion for the entertainment industry.
Right.
And then of course I got out there and underestimated the whole process. I was like, oh, I'm going to get an agent and be in the next Hunger Game and I'll be set. Like,
I can see you in the Hunger Games.
I totally underestimated the process. So I got a job as a production assistant.
Right.
And I learned so much. I was happy to get people's coffee and breakfast all day if it meant I got to like be on set. I just stood behind the director and Video Village and would just I was the worst production assistant. I would just, unless someone came up to me and needed something, my eyes were just glued on the whole process. And I loved it. I worked on it was a scripted show on USA. It's called The Colony. And then I did another scripted show on VH1 called Hit the Floor. And I loved it. I had so much fun.
You probably learned a lot, too.
I learned a lot. I actually learned that, I needed to learn more. Like, I was like, okay, I have to get a coach. And so went to Atlanta because there was a ton of stuff happening there. And an agent I got was based out of there, and he encouraged me to go. And so I got a good coach, got a good agent, and all the audition tapes, were virtual being in Atlanta. So that was good. Did that for 2 years and then went back to LA, started working as an assistant to an on-set acting coach. So like she would coach them in their auditions. And if they booked it, then they would hire her to come on set and help them through a scene.
Right.
And so I got to do all her editing and watch. It was really cool because I got to watch the tapes of people who booked the job. So I could see what worked, what didn't. And that's when I realized I wanted to be behind camera.
See? I love it.
So,
hiking Runyon by day and crushing it at night.
Every day feels like Saturday. And I'm like, well, I don't know. You had like a job. So.
Yes. But when I went into work, it was 10 o'clock. Like that was when the day started.
PM.
AM.
Okay.
So it's like here, it's like, you show up to work at, 8:39. But then, like, your day started at 10. So it was like hiking Runyon with the poodles, taking them and, like, being on set. And then a lot of it was just being out in the public as a publicist and being with whoever you're representing and that kind of thing. But
that's so cool.
It was cool. It was fun.
But you did, like, red carpets and talk shows and all things?
Went to all the, Conan was huge, like, all that kind of stuff.
So cool.
And so working with celebrities is a completely different beast than coming from LA to Charleston. So what brought you back to Charleston?
Well, COVID.
Yeah.
My family was all here during COVID. Came back. I remember just like packing my bag and going to the Burbank airport. I was like, I'm not going to be stuck in Hollywood.
Airport. That's a quick
for
one.
The apocalypse.
Yeah.
So jetted back and just stayed. And we're family friends with Leva and her husband.
Okay.
And got to talking to her, and she was like, well, show's looking for new faces. Do you think you would be interested if I gave them your name? Did not think it would actually go anywhere. So said yes. Went back to LA. Things were still pretty closed down, but and then just kept getting phone calls.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was nice. I knew I wanted to end up back on the East Coast and be closer to family, but this just expedited it.
That's awesome. Now, Lev is a boss, too.
She is a boss. I'm happy to have. She's big sister to me on the show.
That's amazing. Now, you guys have a lot of things working on together, right? Jake, what have you guys been working on?
So, to be honest with you, Olivia and I did a lot of work prior to you're filming in the second season.
Yeah, because I found out I had it, I found out I got the job, and then there was a big chunk of time before filming.
Sure.
So that's where we got to work together, and I got to go to his shoots with him. I was kind of his assistant.
I saw the video, like some of your reels, and I was like, y'all look like a good team.
Yeah, it was like very much brother-sister vibes, and same with the PA job. I just wanted to learn and watch him do his thing, and we did. I got to go on a lot of cool shoots with you. We did like a chef. You did nightlife there for a minute, but I just think you graduated nightlife.
Well, so my senior year of college is really like how it was a lot of work. Mm-hmm. So I know we did, and then you got caught up with filming. We haven't got to work anything the past couple months. We have some big stuff planned for the summer.
Yeah, and we did like a really cool. It was a fashion shoot. And he's just got all these incredible ideas. He put his camera in a
was
fish
the
tank.
underwater,
It was the underwater shoot, and it was
That's
the coolest,
awesome.
the coolest shoot.
I need to see these. Is it videos? Is it photos? What is it?
Yeah, some photos. And so we did. I wanted to do this like underwater kind of dream scene.
Okay.
So underwater camera housing is extremely expensive, and I saw this idea where it's like, fish tanks are waterproof. You can stick your camera
I have
inside
a
of a
fish
fish
tank
tank. I already have one.
It's full of fish.
But you can stick it underwater, and it's like it creates this little like air pocket where you can shoot into the pool.
It was really cool.
Yeah. We shot with Colette, one of your friends. She's
an influencer.
Yes, she does a lot more gaming and a lot more narration kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's awesome. Thank you for that connection.
Of course. I was happy to assist on those
now
jobs.
I want to talk about influencer marketing because like that is the name of the game. So I'm in digital marketing and I work with a lot of brands and I work with big brands and then I work with like smaller nonprofits. So I work with like an array of different types of clients. And they're constantly contacting me going, I want to work with this influencer. Like I saw Charleston Blonde and she looks like she would love my product. And I'm like, great, let me call her. And then, it's like crickets, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I would love like your perspective because, influencer marketing, like I obviously feel like you're doing a lot more with like building your wellness brand and that kind of thing than just influencer marketing. So let me preface with saying that. But I would like to know how brands can work with influencers. Like what do you think is the best case scenario for like contacting you or working with you, or what kind of brands do you personally like to work with?
So it was all I kind of had to figure out what I wanted my brand to be because at first you're getting things all over the place and you don't really know how to navigate which ones. So for me, obviously getting social media manager just to kind of sift through, but I had a hard time with it. I mean, I was overwhelmed because it's just kind of like you get this following almost overnight. And as incredible as it was, I was just like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with it? And I'm just kind of was spinning. And so I got a really good social media manager. I talked to other influencers in town and they said, like, work from the inside out. Like, what is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you want people to associate you with?
Right.
And then like go from there. And that was as simple as it sounds. Like that was such helpful advice. That was the direction I needed. Like find out what it is you're passionate about and then find those brands and don't sift through the things that I don't know. Like I would get some things. I got some weird products thrown at me.
The stories are long.
So yeah, that was it. It was really just finding what you're passionate about and then going after those brands. A lot of the times I would contact her and be like, hey, I really like them. Can you reach out for me?
Right.
Right. So that's what helped me that direction.
Yeah, I think being authentically yourself on social media is such a hard place to be because there's so much pressure to, monetize your social media, just the way the world is going now. But I did my homework before you came, and I was following you anyways. But I like your posts. I think it's like I was telling you earlier, you wouldn't be someone like I would want to be friends with.
Oh, thank you.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
you're like a nice human, and and you come off like that on the show, and you come off like that on your social media. But that's hard to do in this world.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. That's what I hope it gives.
No,
off as.
You just seem like authentically yourself, and I love that you align yourself with brands of things like like you play sports and that kind of thing. So you're aligning yourself with brands that you would already use anyways.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it is finding what you're connected to. And my one influencer, Helen, who lives in the area, she helped a lot. She was like, you're already doing it. Because I got like stage fright all of a sudden. On my own social media, I was like, I don't know what to post. And she was like, you're already, because I love the creative part of it. And she was saying, you already do it. You already post your stories. You make reels with your friends. It's the same game, just the players are different. And you want to have a little bit more intention with what you're posting. And that was game changer advice for me. And I've found a little bit more confidence in, and then just doing what you're interested in. Like I love sports. I have dietary restrictions because of allergies. So I like talking about that. So I appreciate you saying it comes off authentic because I really try to make it. And
it does.
Like talking into a camera, I'm still not there with it. So I just post the bloopers.
I remember when we first, it was like for your first season, and we're sitting down on top of the watch, and we're talking about Instagram and like social media influencer, and your account had like 11,000 followers. It now, like, over the past year has jumped up to 132,000 followers.
That's amazing. Congrats.
Thank you.
What are some of the things that you've learned from this rapid growth, and what advice would you want to give some to upcoming influencers?
I mean, I guess it would be the advice that I was given. Just stick to what you're passionate about and because that's what's going to give you momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Like what you post and how often you want to post.
Sure.
And not to overthink it. And I say that because like I have to tell myself that every single day. And you know that. I would come to him and he'd be like, just post.
Right. It's a lot of pressure, especially when you're the face and the voice of your brand. Like, I feel like personal branding is so difficult. Like, I have a consulting business, and I can't stand like just putting my face on there. Like, here I am behind my laptop making dreams happen for other people. Like, what do you talk about? But it's an important part of marketing, because if you can't market yourself, why is someone going to hire you to represent them? Right.
That's a good point.
Some advice to get around that like thought and that stigma of like the dread and the pressure is, I think about it is, look, it's a social media post.
Yeah.
People are going to see it for, maybe about 3 seconds out of their day. How long are they really going to think about it? It's gonna stay up
You're
there.
You're thinking about it more than anyone else is. It's so true.
It's like, all right, why exactly? It's like,
I'm going to call you the next time I get nervous and just be like, give me a pep talk.
People
He's really good at that.
Like realism. People want to see like reality, what's like actually going on in your life. The more like relatable and the more connectable it is, the more like people like care about it. And so that's why I'm like, you know what, let me send it out there. Who cares? If it doesn't do well, it's like no one's going to think about it in a week. If it does really well, so be it.
Well, that's
a good point.
That's kind of how, when I would start out, I would be getting these things. I was like, okay, you need to post about this. I would be out there for hours just trying to get the smallest thing out.
Right.
And I would have more footage of like bloopers than the actual content. So I started just chopping up the bloopers of like, this is what I'm selling, and this was the process of trying to use it. And that I noticed I had a lot more interactions on my insights with that content, like just being
because you're being yourself.
Right.
Like, and I think that's important, because like we were talking about earlier, like back in the day, it was like, supermodels were on the cover of magazines. Like, they were the only people selling products. And now anyone can sell a product with a camera and a cell phone and an Instagram page. And I love that. So other people are like, oh, you're just taking jobs away from the other professionals. But like for me, I would rather follow and root for someone that I feel like I would befriend or like be a family member than someone who's like, no offense to her because she's freaking beautiful, like Giselle, like I'm rooting for her, but because she's also very relatable. Like she's on there with her children and riding horses and giving back to the world. Like she's not perfect and doing duck faces or selfies.
Right.
Like she's just, you're rooting for people who are good humans and like are making a difference in the world and like are authentically themselves. And I'll say a lot of this, the Southern cast, like Southern Charm cast, like over the last couple of years, it's changed and revolved. And you've seen people like, Craig, and his love, and you're like, oh my God, you're rooting for them because it's just endearing to see the growth, and that's what I love about social media, because it's like historical growth of your brand, like as a personal brand or as like a business, to see the progression of who you once were and telling the story of who you're going to be.
Right.
And I love it.
That's such a good way to put it. And social media also gives you that insight to where you can see what people's feedback. You know what I mean? It's not just like critics and like a magazine cover. You get to put something out there and see how it does immediately.
Exactly.
And you're always going to have the negative stuff. That's going to come no matter what.
Right.
But that's what social media does. It gives you that like inside, you get to feel like a part of their day.
Right.
You're not just seeing that one magazine cover. You get to see like waking up, what they're eating for breakfast. And like Jake said, it's all stuff people can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
Social media establishes the, like, I don't want to say the safety, but like the, the truth and like what your message really means.
Right.
It I'm blanking out the word. What do you know?
No, it tells the story of who you are and like your mission, but also it's like for personal branding, like you can't get away from who you are. Like it's like the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. Like I love the messages of like body positivity and loving yourself and like the climate for marketing has changed, especially since COVID, and I think it's awesome.
Let's shift the topic on social media for a
Sure.
second. What are your thoughts? I want to hear both of yours on the trends,
Like TikTok trends.
like TikTok,
Oh,
Instagram.
just kill me now. Just kill me now.
I get so dizzy on that app. I don't.
Trying to find like the algorithm that works for social media is just impossible, because the moment you feel like you've got it down, it's changed. And the clients are coming to me going, well, I saw this, but like that was popular 5 hours ago. It's no longer popular. So we have to like find out what the new thing is. So I think it will die down in a sense. I do love short form video though. I think it's really fun. But trends suck. Trends are hard.
I call him to get the trends because I can't figure it out. Do you think like the job you did, or like your publicist, like how do you think you would have preferred social media to be what it's at today when you were?
I think it would be a lot harder to manage the content and manage the messaging. Okay. Because anyone, like, you know, you could go to a bar and like get too tipsy and or whatever, and someone catch you on video, the entire world is going to see you now. Before, it was like publicists were kind of the gatekeepers of your public image, and so all of it would have to be run by you before it went out. Like, say you had an Oscar-nominated actor, like, you know, there were some strict guidelines of what could go out into the world. But now, like, it's a beast to manage public persona for celebrities. I think it would be tough. I think it would be fun. I'd be on my toes all the time. I would have no life. I'd constantly be on my phone. Like, what are they tweeting about now? But I think it would be really hard. Yeah. Hard.
So outside of influencer marketing and PR, what other types of interests are you in?
I mean, going back to what I was saying about finding, like, honing in on what I wanted to do, especially this past season, I got to do more, like, active things, which I'm interested in. You know, there's tennis and brand. Running. Yeah, like wellness and being gluten-free, and, like, I was in the kitchen more, like cooking stuff, and that all that kind of stuff is interesting to me. And so that's kind of the umbrella, like wellness umbrella of what I wanted to be starting something under. But doing like athletic, I would love to own like an athleisure brand. Right now, I just have collaborations to promote others, but that would be like a goal.
Yeah, Southern Charm is an awesome way to catapult your career, I feel like. I'm really, I know the new season is dropping soon, and I'm really excited to see what you have coming up.
Oh, it's going to be good. And I was telling you this earlier, the crew was really focused on the aesthetics of Charleston. That's like, awesome. They put a lot of time into capturing just all the beautiful parts, because there's so many different parts of Charleston. Right. And I feel like that's why a lot of people started watching in the first place. Like, don't you think?
Yeah, for me. So when I was thinking about moving to Charleston from Nashville, like, I'd come here for vacation one time. Like, I'm from the East Coast. I don't know why Charleston just was never like on my radar, but my friend told me about Southern Charm on Bravo, and I was like, all right, let's watch it. You know, I watch like The Bachelor and all those shows, so I was like, let's give another reality show a shot. Let's do that. And so I watched it, and I was like, this city is stunning. Like, it just looks like the slow motion, like Ravenel Bridge, and like the sunsets, and like everyone is beautiful and nice and friendly. They're walking with the dogs down the street. I was like, this is an awesome place to be. This looks heavenly. Like, I want to go there. And now I have friends all over the country, because I've lived everywhere, and they're all hooked. And they're like, so we saw you ran into Thomas Ravenel the other night. We saw him in your background in your picture. And it's funny, because I feel like it's really making a beautiful name for Charleston, like good and bad, because obviously there's got to be a show where it's got drama to sell it.
Right.
But do you feel like it's doing a good representation of like representing our beautiful city?
I think it does a really good job. Like you said, there's always going to be the drama. And look, we're not on the Discovery Channel, so we don't get to go too far into it. We got to throw in the other stuff. But I think it does a good job, especially the downtown area, and really showing the historical parts of it and traditions, you know?
Right.
But yeah, like I said, this new season, I think they did an excellent job at capturing all parts, like the beach, Isle of Palms, downtown, and because our cast is spread out all over the city, so they did a good job of capturing it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did your parents live in Mount Pleasant?
So they were in Isle of Palms.
Okay.
And so the second season, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm failure to launch, because I was there the first season, and then second season, I'm still living at home. But they moved. They're primarily out of Houston now.
Okay.
So I'm in the Isle of Palms house. It's a lot of house. I'm learning a lot. I've called the wild animal hotline like 100 times. Like, I'm like, I miss my 1-bedroom apartment.
I remember like walking into your house. We're like, oh yeah, come you pick out like, or she's like, come pick like help me pick out an outfit. I walk into your closet and my jaw just like dropped. I'm like, Olivia, this is like the size of my apartment.
That's awesome.
Well, the funny thing is, it's a lot of other people's clothes in there just to make it look more full.
You still couldn't even figure it out.
But I like it. Isle of Palms is just like its own. It's hard to leave, though. You know.
I love Isle of Palms. So we have a boat and we drop it in an IOP, and we're just, the whole city is just so beautiful. And everyone comes to visit me, and they're like, "Can I move here?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'll go on Realtor.com, and I'm sending them like listings. I'm like, "We would welcome you in Charleston." And I think Southern Charm does a really great job of like showcasing the city and bringing people in, and like for, marketing. Like Charleston is always like the friendliest city and all those kinds of things. And I think it's really awesome to call the Lowcountry home.
Well, that's great to hear you say that, especially as someone who watches the show and has lived in all these other places.
Right.
It's really nice to hear.
Yeah. And it's a shout out to my sister-in-law, Lindsay, who's very much a big Bravo fan, and she watches Southern Charm. And now I'm convincing her to move here. So
move here.
We're going to move here, everybody. So it's exciting.
I love that.
What tips do you have for people like coming from the LA, West industry, moving out to Charleston to get acclimated to the city, especially in like the more marketing influencer and maybe a PR industry?
Oh man, that's a good question. Well, first, load up on the sushi because I miss the LA sushi before coming
and the
here.
Mexican food.
The Mexican food. I would have to say, just stick to don't change your brand based on your location. I think that's the cool thing about Charleston. It's a melting pot. Yeah. Same with LA. It's similar in that way.
Is.
Don't feel like you have to shift into other people's brand or what's expected or what's like the usual thing in the South.
Right.
Like bring what makes you different, what you learned in LA, bring all those skills here.
Mm-hmm. They'll set you apart. And I think finding your tribe is really important, especially like in like women-owned businesses or like solo entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs. I think finding the good people around you. And one thing I will say about Charleston, at least I've experienced, is that some like people are constantly moving from other places, and so they're all bringing their different perspectives. It's not like it used to be back in the day where everyone knew each other. The city is growing, like the tech industry is growing, the hospitality industry is growing, the restaurant scene is just unbelievable. So I think finding your tribe of people to support you and to support your endeavors, kind of like how you two are supporting each other. Yeah. It's like the best way to go, especially when you're coming from somewhere else.
That's such a good point.
It's hard to find those people, but once you do, like just hang on to them because it's priceless.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm hanging on to
without
him.
you, Olivia, I would not be where I am today. You have introduced me to a lot of people, made a lot of connections, and helped my business out tremendously. Cos Films would not be, anywhere close without, your friendship and your support.
Well, thank you for saying that. You, like I say, you're the most talented in the city, and I continue to say that. So I've learned a lot from you. So thank you.
Thank you, and I hope to continue. Well, I know we're going to continue working
with
each other.
Yeah. Like the little brother.
And I'm going to go out to lunch with y'all, and I'll be like the mama bear, like take care of all of you. I'll be very excited about it.
I love that.
What projects do you have coming up? Like where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh boy, that's a loaded question. I don't know.
Where would you want to see yourself?
I would love to, like I said, I would love to just have a brand, whether that's like athleisure, whether it's like a gluten-free, like something for celiacs, just something that, I don't know. I knew I was going to get stumped on this question. I do every time.
It's hard. It's hard to talk about yourself. You know why it's not hard? It's hard to talk about yourself? Because you're like a very nice human who's not boastful, that's going to talk about their success. So it's important, but I think that like the sky is the limit for you, and I'm really, really excited to see where your career goes.
Thank you so much. You and me both.
It's gonna be doing great things.
Thank you.
You want to get back into acting? Would you want to like go back to LA and try to be in like movies?
No, I will say, and I learned this when I was production assistant. I love behind the camera work.
Right.
Despite what I do right now, like I would love dream job director.
Visionary process is so cool from start to finish.
Yeah.
Like, Yeah.
And like getting to be on the creative end of it, but you don't have the like pressure to do it, but you're just working with these talented people. Like I would absolutely, that would be my dream job, get to direct. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a Spielberg situation, but even just, you know, photo shoots, like what you do, like saying, let's try this, let's do this, and not get super tripped up on the technicalities, because that,
yeah. I know you struggle with that. I remember like sitting down showing you, all right, this is how we're gonna edit the footage, and you're just
we were
like
up till 5 a.m. and I was watching him do it, and I was like, this isn't for me.
I'm not a detail-oriented person. I thrive in my business, so just let your creative juices flow. You'll be absolutely fine.
Were we really up to 5 a.m.?
You were doing Austin and Craig's.
There was the Pillow and Beers tour.
Pillow and Beers. What is
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
He did their like promotional video for that, and I wanted to sit and watch him. And yeah, I blinked, and it was 6 a.m. I was like, I need to go, and he was just going still.
I don't think I went to bed till like.
I don't think you did. But you had
like 7
You had a lot to play with. Those guys give you a lot to work with.
Yeah, that was really awesome. You know, we got a lot of big projects coming up. I'd love to get you back on maybe like helping us out with the directing process.
Yeah.
I know you're a current creative director. I know we took a little bit of a break because of filming and then me trying to graduate.
Yeah.
Finally done.
Woo!
Summer's here.
So proud.
Midnight last night, submitted the last final, and then today, like getting ready to book everything for the summer.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
Well, Olivia, it's been so awesome having you here today.
Thank you
We're
for
really
having
excited
me.
about Southern Charm.
Thank
When is it
you.
dropping? Do you know?
I've heard like fall.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I have the DVR already set, but you know.
Are you gonna go to BravoCon? You and Lindsay?
Can you? Hey, Lindsay, you want to go to BravoCon? We talked about Superfans. Now, I guess I'm more of like a Southern Charm fan than like watching all the shows.
Oh, I like that. I mean,
I really am. Like, a lot of people watch Vanderpump Rules and all that, and I don't. But
it's just Charmer, huh?
I'm just a charmer.
Oh, I love
I
that.
love to support my city, so it's I love it. So
music to my ears.
awesome. Well, how can people like connect with you? Do you have a website, social media?
Yeah, I'm on, Instagram. I'm on TikTok, but connect with me on Instagram. I still got a lot to go with TikTok. Yeah, it's Olivia V. Flowers, and find me on there. I'm awkward and all the bloopers.
I love it. I'm excited.
Thanks. Well, thank y'all for having me. This has been fun.
Thank you, Olivia. I'm your host, Jake Kozmor.
And I'm Stephanie Barrow. Lots coming down the pipeline for Charleston AMA, so if you're not following us on socials, please do so. We have the Spark Awards coming up in the fall, which is the only elite marketing awards for the Charleston area. So I'm very, very jazzed for it, as per usual. Any excuse to get dressed up, right?
Absolutely, just like a podcast.
Yeah, any excuse. Yeah. I'm
On our blazers.
That's right. We're matching today. We all got the memo. So thank you guys for being here today, and we'll see you next time.